These are disturbing new mythical creatures caught on camera, and what you are about to see does not behave like a myth at all. Some of these moments are unsettling. Some are hard to explain, but you should wait for number 9 because that is the one that left people wide awake long after the video ended. In Costa Rica, a home security camera facing thick bushes captured a strange creature creeping out from the vegetation, low to the ground, moving on 4 legs with an eerie sense of control. The dog noticed it first, barking hard, then doing something you rarely saw in confident guard dogs. It backed away slowly, as if it understood it was outmatched. The creature kept advancing toward the premises, not sprinting, not panicking, just steady, like it had done this before. At that point, the activity was no longer subtle. The dog's fear grew, the creature's pace never changed, and the camera angle made it feel uncomfortably close to the house. If you were the homeowner, would you have checked the footage alone, or would you have waited for daylight and company? Around 2:17 a.m. in a suburban part of Tucson, Arizona, a backyard security camera belonging to a landscaping contractor captured something pale moving through his garden. The figure looked hairless and thin, with luminous eyes reflecting the infrared light, and it paced back and forth like it was scanning the space, stopping often, tilting its head, then shifting direction again. A strange, broken sound came from it, uneven and almost mechanical, like something struggling to form a normal voice. The man behind the camera was not filming for entertainment. He had been securing his tools and checking his yard after an uneasy night, then later reviewed the clip when he noticed odd motion alerts. Viewers online debated what it was. Some called it a sick animal, others leaned into skinwalker lore, and a few pointed out the most unsettling detail. It seemed to acknowledge the camera, pausing like it knew it was being watched. At that point, the activity was no longer subtle because awareness changed the whole meaning. If something looked directly toward the lens and kept pacing anyway, what did it want? And why did it not hide? This clip wasted no time setting the tone. It was around 2 a.m. in a quiet Costa Rican neighborhood. The streetlights glowed, but the road still felt swallowed by darkness. Residents rushed out as dogs barked nonstop, not like normal barking, more like panic that spread from house to house.
Uy, perro.
Venga, pero venga, weón, pío más, ¿qué pío más tenemos,
Mae, ¿será al chile?
¿La tiene ahí?
Sí, pero no enfoca ni picha.
No, está muy largo, mae.
Mae, qué feo se parece un mono esa picha.
Mae, sí, la mae está así, mae, la mae está así, picha.
No
Mae,
enfoca,
yo
pero sí
nosotros
se ve el
salimos por ahí.
bulto.
Nosotros salimos por ahí y ahí no había nada.
Mae, qué raro esa picha.
¿Ves, mae? No, le digo, puta, esta viene por acá, mamá.
No, no.
¿Ustedes la alumbraron? Mae, cuando venían de allá.
On the road lay a dark shape pressed flat against the ground, completely still until it sensed attention. A man filming, reportedly a night security worker returning home, whistled repeatedly, trying to provoke movement the way someone might test a frightened animal. It did not flinch, it did not react to the whistles, the barking, or the people gathering. That stillness felt strategic, like waiting, listening, measuring. At that point, the activity was no longer subtle because the street no longer felt like a street. It felt like a stage, and something was choosing when to start the show. A man walked through the woods with his camera already recording, expecting nothing more than a quiet hike and maybe a few eerie sounds to joke about later. Then something shifted behind a tree, and what he saw looked like part of the forest itself, twisted, wooden, almost like a branch clinging to bark. It did not move the way animals moved, it blended like it belonged there. From that moment, everything escalated. There were knocks that seemed too patterned to be random, a strange, distorted voice that appeared in short bursts, and subtle movements around him that felt coordinated. Here was my take: the most frightening creatures in stories were not always the loud ones. They were the ones that could sit still and become the environment, because that meant they did not need to chase you. They only needed you to come closer. And if it could mimic a tree so well, how many times had people walked past something like that without noticing? This clip felt disturbing in the quietest way possible because nothing about it started like horror. A man sat relaxed, talking on a live call in a foreign language, casual tone, steady pace, like he was chatting with a friend.
No me suena la tinga en alemán. Oh, Lord. Estoy solo, estoy con mi perro. De cualquier materia. Es decir, si nosotros estamos estudiando, tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la... tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la tinga en alemán. Oh, Lord.
Behind him, something crept into view, passed once, then came back, peeping out like it was studying him. The man paused mid-speech, turned around like he felt eyes on his back, scanned the room, then shrugged it off and continued speaking, unaware that the camera had caught what his senses had only hinted at. The most chilling detail was the timing. The figure moved when his focus was elsewhere, then froze when he turned, almost like it understood his attention. At that point, the activity was no longer subtle, because coincidence did not explain that kind of rhythm. If it was curious, why did it hide? And if it was hunting, why did it wait? It was sunset. Cars moved steadily along the road, and everything looked normal until something appeared ahead that first resembled a trash bag caught in the wind. Then it started walking. It dragged itself forward stiffly, unevenly, like a body learning how to move. Drivers slowed down, unsure whether to stop or keep going, and the camera kept rolling as the figure crossed the road with a strange kind of determination. Let me put it this way: illusions were easy to dismiss until they started behaving like they had intent. Wind could blow, shadows could stretch, but wind did not choose a path across asphalt. In my view, this clip hit a psychological nerve because it turned something harmless into something purposeful, and once your brain accepted that, your safety instincts kicked in. If you had been in that car, would you have stopped to help, or would you have locked your doors and kept moving? This clip came out of Romania, and it felt unsettling from the first second because it played out in a space people usually considered protected. A home security camera at a gated residence captured a humanoid figure slipping past a parked car near midnight. The creature looked bony and unnaturally thin, pale and hairy, with a hunched back and stiff limbs. It moved slowly, like something imitating life rather than living it. The homeowner had returned from work and locked the gate earlier, so the idea that something still entered the property made the footage feel invasive. At that point, the activity was no longer subtle because timing mattered. It appeared when the house should have been settling into silence. If this was just a person, why did it move like that? And if it was not, how did it get inside without triggering more obvious signs? Deep in rural Canada, filmed during a late autumn evening, a lone cabin dweller and recreational hunter stepped out to track game near the tree line when movement caught his eye.
Do a quick scan of the forest. I'm gonna try my best to see if I can see anything in the distance, but if there's anything you can see, let me know. Do a quick scan of the forest. I'm gonna try my best to see. What the heck was that? What the heck was that? Look it!
Between dense bushes, a tall figure shifted with purpose. Glowing white eyes cut through the dark like they had been waiting for him to look up. At that point, the activity was no longer subtle. The pacing movement, the rustling, and the sense of being watched made him retreat fast. His camera shook as he ran, breath-breaking, instincts taking over. What made this clip stick was not just fear, it was the feeling of selection, like the figure had noticed him before he noticed it. People who lived near forests often said the tree line felt like a border, safe on one side, unknown on the other. And once something stared back from the border, the whole forest became a question. Captured on August 18, 2023, just after 1:40 a.m. on the outskirts of Oaxaca, Mexico, a patrol camera owned by a freelance wildlife tracker recorded a creature that defied easy explanation. The figure moved with eerie precision, monkey-like in posture, yet it had horns and what looked like a tail. Details that made it feel stitched together from different categories of animal. The cameraman, described as a former forest ranger who still checked traps and wildlife signs at night, froze when the creature locked eyes with the lens. Then came the sound. Layered, distorted voices that did not match a single source, more like overlapping audio than a natural call. He did not yell. He did not run immediately. He stayed quiet, breathing shallow, as if noise would invite attention. Observers later argued about what the sound was. Some insisted it was edited, others suggested it could have been multiple animals echoing through terrain, but critics also pointed out the timing. The creature appeared centered, presented, not accidental. If it was a living animal, why did it move like it was performing for the camera? And if it was not, what was the purpose of being seen? On August 14, 2022, just after 1:30 a.m. near Durango in northern Mexico, a driver returning from a late fuel delivery saw a figure standing in the middle of the highway.
What is this called? అని కాదు అక్కడ నీకు అర్థం కాలే
The dash cam captured the moment his headlights washed over long black hair hanging forward and a body that looked human-shaped until it started moving. The figure walked backward while its torso faced forward, joints bending in ways that felt wrong. Yet the steps were controlled and steady like a deliberate demonstration. The driver did not shout threats. He stayed inside the vehicle, breathing faster, whispering under his breath as if he could not trust his own eyes. At that point, the threat felt clear because the figure did not flinch at the car or retreat into darkness. Many viewers later argued it had to be a person doing a trick, but others highlighted how calm it looked and how the movement stayed consistent rather than clumsy. A lot of people believed the most disturbing detail was the confidence. It behaved like it owned the road. If it was a performance, who performed it at that hour, on that road, and for what audience? On March 14, 2024, just after 11:40 p.m., a livestock owner outside Valdosta, Georgia, stepped out after hearing heavy thuds on the roof of his farmhouse. Accustomed to animals and night noises, he raised his phone, expecting raccoons or debris.
Oh, damn. Holy shit. All right. Son of a bitch just went on the other side of the house. Oh. What the hell? Where'd it go? What's going on here? Oh my God.
Instead, two glowing eyes stared back at him. Whispering in disbelief, he slowly zoomed in, revealing what looked like a full skeleton crouched above him, completely motionless. The man did not scream or run. His voice carried confusion more than panic. What unsettled viewers was that reaction. It sounded like someone trying to understand something that did not fit any familiar explanation. On October 14, 2023, videographer Lucas Weber tested a new low-light camera in Germany's Black Forest during steady rainfall. The forest was quiet except for rain and distant wind when he noticed a small child-sized figure half hidden behind a tree. Its eyes glowed brightly, fixed directly on him. Lucas froze, then turned and ran, the camera swinging wildly as his breathing quickened. The figure did not follow. For many viewers, that detail was unsettling. Predators usually chase. This one remained still, watching as if movement was unnecessary once it had been noticed. Captured on October 12, 2024 at 1:17 a.m. in Phoenix, Arizona, a Ring camera recorded a tall, thin figure walking calmly past a residential home. The footage was reviewed by a rideshare driver checking a noise before starting his shift. The figure had an oversized head and reflective eyes that caught the camera light. It did not hesitate or speed up. Viewers argued over costumes and camera distortion, but many focused on the pace. The walk felt deliberate, almost casual. It moved like it knew the space and expected no interruption, which made the brief appearance linger in people's minds. On March 12, 2024, a maintenance contractor on Kangaroo Island inspected storm damage when movement above him caught his attention.
There's a guy on my roof.
Through a transparent roof panel, he filmed a strange creature crawling slowly across the surface. It had thin, elongated limbs, spindly arms, and long claw-like fingers gripping the panels. The lighting was full daylight, removing night vision explanations. The creature moved carefully, testing each step as if aware of the height. What unsettled viewers was the location. Rooftops are exposed and visible, yet this thing behaved like it expected to remain unseen despite being in plain sight. On June 14, 2024, just after 6:30 a.m., a civilian contractor on early surveillance duty near Al Jaff, Saudi Arabia, recorded a tall, thin figure walking across open desert terrain. The sun was already rising, flattening shadows and reducing visual tricks. The figure appeared hairless with long arms and legs swaying in a slow mechanical rhythm. The man zoomed repeatedly, disbelief audible as he muttered under his breath. What stood out was direction. The figure did not wander or hesitate. It moved steadily across the sand as if following a route, giving the impression of purpose rather than confusion. On January 14, 2024, around 6:20 a.m., wildlife photographer Elias Morgan filmed while following his dog into Montana's Black Pine Forest after it suddenly bolted. Snow crunched under his boots as he called out, concern rising.
Тарзан! Афор! А теперь ко мне. Ко мне, Тарзан. Ко мне, я говорю. Тарзан! Тарзан, я сказал, ко мне! Тарзан, ко мне! Что это? Тихо, тихо, Тарзан. Тарзан, тихо, тихо, Тарзан. Боже мой, что это было?
Between the trees, two boys appeared, one standing still, the other hovering above the ground. Elias gasped as they clasped hands and vanished into fog. The moment felt structured rather than chaotic. First the dog reacted, then the figures appeared, then everything returned to silence. The sequence made it feel less like a random sighting and more like a brief opening that closed again. On March 12, 2024, around 1:40 a.m. near Mendoza, Argentina, a night shift delivery driver filmed because the road already felt unsettling. In the footage, a human-shaped figure sprinted across the road in a single burst. Its arms and legs were unnaturally long, joints bending in ways that did not match human anatomy, topped with a small, shrunken head. The movement was fast but controlled. It crossed, paused just long enough to register, then vanished. The timing felt intentional, as if the appearance was meant to be noticed briefly before disappearing back into darkness. A trail camera recorded this on October 14, 2024, around 3:17 a.m. deep in Pennsylvania's Allegheny National Forest. The camera belonged to a wildlife biologist monitoring deer movement after repeated disturbances. A thin, hunched figure passed slowly through the frame, its head barely visible. Posture bent forward unnaturally. It did not react to the camera trigger or flash. Instead, it continued at the same pace, almost indifferent. Viewers found that detail disturbing. Animals usually startle when caught on camera. This figure behaved like it understood the device and chose to ignore it. On March 14, 2024, around 11:47 p.m., a group of YouTubers explored an abandoned railway tunnel outside Bandung, Indonesia. The cameraman whispered nervously as darkness swallowed their light.
What?
Right there.
What do you mean?
Right there. Something's in the rake's nest.
No, what?
Something's in the rake's nest.
Something's in the nest! Something's in the nest! Something is in the nest! Logan! Logan! Dude, I don't know what we just saw. What? 5 a.m. Alright guys, we're still moving through here. Come on, come on! Let's go, we gotta keep moving. Yo! Something's down there! Something's down there!
Don't move. Don't move. Don't move.
Yo! Dude, I know what's down there. Don't move. Don't move. Just don't move. Don't move. Wait, I hear something. Something's moving. What is it? What is it? Go!
Suddenly, something moved with speed. One team member disappeared from view, then another, and panic overtook the group. Footsteps echoed as voices cracked and breathing turned frantic. The figure appeared again, blocking their path, forcing them to scatter. Even viewers who questioned authenticity agreed on one thing: the fear sounded uncontrolled. Tunnels removed distance and options, turning every movement into immediate pressure. On June 14, 2024, just after 11:40 p.m., a fisherman recorded restless water while night fishing at Lake Okeechobee in Florida.
Oh my God, you see that? That's standing up. Oh, it's looking right at us, no way.
The surface rippled under his torch before a frogman-like creature emerged, slick and greenish, eyes reflecting the light. It released a sharp sound with a human tone, then dropped back beneath the surface. The man froze, then ran to his truck, breathing hard. What unsettled viewers was the speed of the disappearance. It surfaced once, made itself known, then erased the moment completely as if the lake closed behind it. This last clip opens calmly, then the tone changes within seconds. Far back as 2020 in the Appalachian foothills, a couple were driving. Something flashed between the trees. They reversed and zoomed in with their camera, voice low and tense as they tried to focus. On screen, a small hunched creature appeared, goblin-like, with sharp, jerky movements.
Вот там справа. Я что видел?
А как? Двигался?
Двигался или не двигался, я не заметил, но он там был. Это там. Он там только что мелькал. Среди деревьев. Вон он.
Где? Я не
Вон он
вижу.
там странный. Страшный такой.
Я вижу. А я нет.
Он стоит среди деревьев.
Я вижу. Я не вижу. А с какой стороны? Стой. Ну, я не вижу. Лешего. Значит, он там где-то, но я его не вижу. Не вижу. Николь!
It remained visible only for a moment, then slipped silently back into the woods. The timing felt deliberate. It appeared only after the camera focused, then vanished, leaving the impression it understood exactly when it had been seen. After watching all of this, it becomes harder to believe these were just coincidences. Some of these creatures watched, some waited, and some appeared exactly when the camera was already rolling. If this was only what people managed to capture, the real question is what happened in all the moments that were never recorded. Which one stayed with you the longest? And what do you think we were actually looking at?